our not only our mental state, but also our physical state depends on our positive thinking, right? So we have to be optimistic. We have to be thinking positive always. And people say nature always tries to cooperate with us to behave in the way we want. It always tries to protect us. It always tries to support us. So if you have negative thinking, always nature thinks that you want in that way, and it behaves in that way. And okay, today's inspirational quote, ask yourself if what you are doing today is getting you closer to where you want to be tomorrow. So this is very important because people say you have to have goal, you have to have target, you have to have destiny or something planned. So every step that we put should direct to our destination or direct to whatever we want. If you want something, if you are going in some other direction, what is the use? Whatever distance you travel, you will be going somewhere else. So everything we have to, suppose you have a ambition or you have a passion. So every time, whatever you do, actually that should lead you to that particular ambition or passion. Otherwise, your life will be very tough and frustrating. Okay, today, birthday of the great Indian cricket player Vijay Merchant. He is very famous at that time, not now. He is a right-hand batter and occasional right-arm medium-pace bowler. Merchant played first-class cricket for Bombay cricket team as well as 10 test matches for India between 1929 and 1951. At that time, very few matches used to happen. Nowadays, people play 100 games, matches, 200 matches like that. So behind his limited test appearances, he dominated Indian domestic cricket. His batting average of, at the time, 71.64 is the second highest first-class average in history, behind only that of Don Bradman of Australia. So that is his thing. And another one, he is a great inventor and entrepreneur. He is Almer Sperry. In the 1890s, he made useful inventions in electric mining machinery and patent electric brake and control system for street or tram cars. In 1908, he patented the active gyro stabilizer, which acted to stop a ship's roll as soon as it started. You will study about this in your dynamics of machinery title about gyroscope and all. He patented the first gyro compass designed expressly for the marine environment in 1910. This spinning wheel gyro was a significant improvement over the traditional magnetic compass of the day and changed the course of naval history. So this gyroscope is very important in ship navigation and also aero navigation. Okay, today we have lecture 24. So here we are not going to discuss any new topics. So it is just to support you or give some tips for the mid-examination. And okay, I don't have any tips really speaking. So some problems I thought we can discuss about because the paper will be completely set by B section sir, Jai Krishna sir. And it seems he has covered only up to Clausius theorem or Clausius inequality. So the syllabus will be only up to that. So you have to be good at first law and second law, which you are already good before taking this course. In first year itself, you know about the first law and second law problems and all. So you have to just revise again and again. And mainly, you have to practice solving problems. Okay, I think this is just your fluid mechanics also you will do in the first 1 or 2 classes. We discussed about how to measure the pressure using the manometer. So it is just as you know, If you are going down, the pressure will increase. If you are going up, the pressure will decrease. And at the same level, because of the Pascal's law, you will have the same pressure. So the pressure here will be same as the pressure here. Yeah, the pressure here will be same as the pressure here. So, okay, and here there will be atmospheric pressure. Suppose you want to find out the pressure in this vessel, right? So you have to start going down like this. So you know the pressure here, and if you know the fluid, whatever fluid here, and if you know the density of it, so rho GH3 will give you the pressure at this point. So this pressure at this point will be equal to the pressure at this point. And if you go this way, minus rho GH2, okay? So you have to know the fluid property this. So this is there. I will get the pressure at this point, but at this point, again, minus rho GH1. Okay, that's what you will have here, P1 plus rho water GH1. So he is coming from here. I want to find out P1 here. P1 plus rho 1 GH1 plus rho oil GH2. This is water. This is water here, and this is oil. So from here to here, rho oil GH2. So I will get pressure here. Again, here minus rho mercury GH3. Okay. So here, this is mercury here, this is oil, this is water. So now this is equal to P2. So that is the way we have to write the equation, and all the data will be given to you, and you can just substitute and get it. So remaining everything will be simple. Only thing, you have to get that equation. To get that equation, just you go point by point. Okay. So that is the way we can solve the problems of manometer. This will be very useful for your fluid mechanics also. In fluid mechanics also, you will have a chapter on this. Fluid statics is there in that, if it is covered at all, okay, if it is covered. Okay, similarly, some more problems we will see. This is a simple problem with just gas properties, and just after knowing the enthalpy, internal energy like that. So a gas initially at a pressure of 510 kilopascal and a volume of 142 liters. So P1 and V1 are given, undergoes a process and has a final pressure of 170 kilopascal and has a volume of 275 liters. You know P2, V2 also. And during the process, enthalpy decreases by 65 kilojoule per kg. So delta H is given. And take CV is this, determine delta U, Cp and R. Okay, so because H is equal to U plus PV, delta H is equal to delta U plus delta PV, means delta U plus P2 V2 minus P1 V1. Delta H is given, P1 V1 and P2 V2 are given. So you can just substitute the values, you can find out what is delta U. Okay, then Cp is asked. Because delta H is known, delta H is mCp dt. So, and the delta U is mCv dt. So knowing mCv dt, I have to find out mCp dt. So Cv is known, delta E is known. So I can find out m delta T. M delta T into Cp is equal to delta H. So Cp is unknown here. Cp is equal to delta H by m delta T. So you can get Cp. And it is asked to find out R also. R is equal to Cp minus Cv. So in this way, simply you can solve the problem. And just you can have like, because you have already solved the cycles, so whatever be the number of processes, right, you can always solve the problem. So as I told, you have to be given the first state completely, and the process and a property at the second state you have to know. And again, if you go to the process, yes, is there anything not clear? Or? Hello, any problem? Some people are talking. Is it by mistake or anything you want to talk to me? Is it okay? Shall I continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So there can be any number of processes. It is just first law for a closed system. So as I told, you have to be given the first state completely. In the second state, to get the second state, you have to know one property and the process you have to know. In that way, you can go from one point to another point. So you try to get all PV and T so that anything asked, whether it is change in internal energy, change in enthalpy, or work transfer, or heat transfer, anything you can find out. Okay, so it is just and always remember, if you are given the mass, you have to use the mass flow for every change in enthalpy, change in entropy. If mass is not given, you can get everything in kilojoule per kg. If it is given, you have to find out in kilojoules. So you have to multiply by mass. Okay. So 0.5 kg of air is compressed reversibly and adiabatically. That is isentropic. From 80 kilopascal and 60 degrees centigrade to 0.4 megapascal, and is then expanded at constant pressure to the original volume. Sketch the process on PV and TS diagrams and compute work transfer, heat transfer, and delta S for the whole path. Okay, so you can take some initial point. So it is taken, and isentropically it is compressed. It is so you have to know how to draw it first of all. So compressed means volume has to decrease, and then isentropic, it should be a curved process. So it can be isothermal, adiabatic. It depends on what you write here. Okay, so like that. But if you draw in TS diagram 1 to 2, because there is a compression, it is isentropic. So the temperature increases. So we draw like this. And after 2, we have a isobaric process. Okay, a constant expanded at constant pressure. It is given expanded. Expanded means to the right side it has to go, and it is a constant pressure line, horizontal line here. And in the TS diagram, it has to go with a slope. We know that isobar, isocold, they will have slopes, and we have to draw this. Okay, and up to what point I have to draw, and up to what point I have to draw here, because finally the volumes are same. So I have to bring it to the same volume here. So this 2 to 3 should be drawn like this, so that V3 equal to V1. In the same way here, if you draw a constant volume line, which is more steeper than isobar, it will definitely intersect here somewhere. So this is the point of intersection. So 2 to 3 is the isobaric process. Okay, this is the way first you have to draw. And once you draw, based on what is the data given, unknown data you have to find out, and then find out the work transfer, heat transfer, and all. So you know M, P1, T1, and P2 is given because it is isentropic, S1 equal to S2, and because this is isobaric, P2 equal to P3, and finally V1 equal to V3, because these two volumes are same. So I have to solve it, because I have to find out the heat transfer, work transfer. As I told, I have to find out all the temperatures, right? Temperatures, pressures, and volumes. And so isentropic, we know that T2 by T1 equal to P2 by P1 to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma. T1 is known, P2 and P1 are known. I can find out what is T2. And for this process, because it is an isobaric process, T3 by T2 is equal to V3 by V2. So I can find out because V3 by V2, and here V3 is equal to V1. So it is V1 by V2. V1 by V2 is P2 by P1 to the power of 1 by gamma. Okay, so I can use this, and I can find out what is T3. Okay, this is the way I have to find out. Once I get them, so W is equal to W12 plus W23. W12 is MR T1 minus T2 by gamma minus 1. This is for isentropic process. And W23, isobaric process, MR into T3 minus T2. Okay. Or it is like P3 into V3 minus V2, that I will write in terms of temperatures. You can write in any way, it doesn't matter, right? Whichever data is there, based on that we write the equation and just substitute. So this is the way I find out the work transfer. When you come to the heat transfer, Q12 equal to Q12 plus Q23. I know that in isentropic, Q12 is 0, only Q23 will be there. In isobaric, heat transfer is MCP delta T. So MCP into T3 minus T2. Because air is the working fluid, you have to remember Cp, Cv, and R gamma for air. Okay, Cp is 1.005, so I can get this. And the entropy, okay, change in entropy, again change in entropy in 1, 2, and 2, 3, because this is isentropic. 1 to 2 is isentropic, that is 0. And in the isobaric, so you remember, right? that MCP log T2 by T1. And if it is isochoric, MCV log T2 by T1 will be there. Because it is 2 to 3 process, here it will be T3 by T2. So just substitute the values, I will get the change in entropy. Okay, you can see that it is positive. Always this must be positive, the total change in the entropy. And so similarly, there is you can have problems of number of processes. So 1 kg of gas expended reversibly according to the linear law. Okay, sometimes it may not be a standard process. It is a linear law given. Linear law means P is equal to AB plus constant. This is a linear line. Okay, a linear line from 4.2 bar and 1.4 bar. Okay, so P1 is given, P2 is given. The initial and final volumes V1, V2 also are given. The gas is then cooled at constant pressure and so it is cooled by constant pressure. Okay, so cooling means the volume decrease. Okay, so it is coming like this, constant pressure, and then it is finally compressed isothermally back to its initial state. So isothermal compression. So it is a cycle-like thing. Okay, so it is a linear law and the isobaric process and then isothermal process. And sketch the cycle and calculate the work done in each process. I have to find out W in each process. Okay, W for isobar, we know that P into the change in volume. And work done for this process, we know that P1 V1 log V2 by V1, that equation. And for this, I have to do the integration, integral PDV I have to do. So if you want to do integral PDV, I have to know these constants A and C. Okay, how to know the constants? Because I am given P1 V1 and P2 V2, I will get two equations and I have to solve them for A and C. So P1 is 4.2, 420 kilopascals, V1 equal to this meter cube, and P2 is again right in kilopascals and meter cube. And substituting them, I get two equations. 420 is equal to 0.004A plus C, 140 equal to 0.02A plus C. Solving these two, I will get A and C. Okay, once I get A and C, this equation I know. Once I know, that is the PV relation I have to know to find out integral PDV. So W12 is integral PDV. So 122, I substitute this equation. So minus 17500 V square by 2 integration. So 490 V. So from 1 to 2, V1 to V2. So I have to find out the integration. So that is the way I find out W12. And I want W23. W23 is this pressure into change in volume. So I have to get V3. V2 is given, V3 is to be found out. And this process, I know it is isobaric. This is isothermal. And from this, I have to get to this point 2. So P1 V1 by P1 V1 equal to P3 V3. So V3 is equal to P1 V1 by P2. I know P1 V1 P2. I find out what is V3. So once I know that, W23 I can find out. And W31 P1 V1 log V1 by V3. Okay, so that I can find out because I know all the values here. And sum all of them. And I have to get positive because this is a clockwise cycle and it has some area in it. I have to get positive. So you can see that in the first process, W12, it is positive because it is expansion. But in the second and third, there is compression. These two are compressions because volume is decreasing. Means I will have negative work in both these processes because dV is negative. So I will have minus 1.12, minus 1.845. But this positive one must be more because it is having a clockwise cycle. So you can see that 1.515 kilojoules is the work done by the system. Okay, this is the way we can solve closed systems. Okay, for open system, a flow process, if I have, you have to use steady state, steady flow energy equation based on the data. Okay, so this is the problem where I have all the data, that is pressures are given, volumes are given, velocities are given, enthalpies are given, and altitudes, that is datum levels are given, and work transfer is given. You have to find out heat transfer. Okay, so the figure is there, m dot, this is constant because it is steady flow, whatever mass is entering is mass leaving. Here pressure is given, enthalpy is given, velocity is given, and the datum level height is given. Similarly, at the exit also it is given. So we know that steady state steady flow energy equation Q12 is equal to m dot into H2 minus H1 plus C2 square minus C1 square by 2000 plus G into Z2 minus Z1 by 1000 plus W12. As I told, why I am putting 1000 here is, if I don't put 1000, I will get joules here, but enthalpy will be in kilojoules, and there will be mismatch. Okay, so that's why I put 2000 here and 1000 here. Okay, and so I have to put Q, W, H1, H2 should be in kilojoule per kg. And okay, separately I have found out H2 minus H1 is equal to, I can find out here, and C2 square minus C1 square by 2000 because C2 and C1 are given. Similarly, G into Z2 minus Z1 by 1000, it is right. You can see usually for all the problems like compressor, turbine, or whatever it is, this change in enthalpy is very large compared to the change in kinetic energy and change in potential energy. It is just 7 kilojoule per kg, it is minus 0.0264 kg. So whether you add this to enthalpy or if you just ignore it, I will not get much change in the answer. Okay, so practically, but in the exam you have to do all these things. And W dot 12, it is given, it is 750 kilowatts. And I have to find out Q dot. That is the only unknown. I have to find out Q dot. So just substitute, I will get the value. Okay. So 2.1 into H2 minus H1 plus change in kinetic energy, change in potential energy plus W. So I will get this. This is minus 256 kilowatts. Means it is losing heat, not adding heat. It is losing heat. Okay. So that's why I'm getting minus. Okay, this is the way we have to solve a problem of a flow process. So depending on the data, if velocities are not given, you need not consider this. If the heights are not given, you need not consider this. If no heat transfer, you don't have. If no work transfer, you don't have this. And usually always enthalpies will be there. Or you may be given one enthalpy, you may be asking to find out what is the other enthalpy. Sometimes you may be given internal energies. Then H is equal to U plus PV. Like that, you have to write here based on the data. Okay, so that is the way a flow process problem is to be solved. Is it okay? Anything to ask? So there may be problems of unsteady flow. I told you unsteady flow comes whenever entering mass is different to leaving mass. Okay, there may be accumulation of or depletion of mass. Okay, it is like filling a cylinder or filling a balloon or opening a high pressure air into the atmosphere, just like that. And like a cooker, some high pressure air, steam comes out. So like that, it is that type of flows are unsteady flows. Okay. So there may be problems of unsteady flows. So here a small problem is given. A spherical vessel of 1.5 meter diameter containing air at 315 Kelvin is evacuated. So that is mass is taken out until the vacuum inside the vessel is at 730 mm of Hg. Okay, you have to know how to use this type of data. Okay, so if it is 730 mm of Hg, the pressure is equal to rho GH, and rho of mercury you have to know G 9.81, and H you have to put it in meters. Then you will get the pressure in kilopascals. Okay, so that you have to know. And the evacuation process is carried out isothermally. Okay, so T1 equal to T2. And determine the mass of air pumped out, how much mass is taken out of the vessel. Also calculate the pressure in the tank if remaining air is cooled to 275 Kelvin. So take atmospheric pressure is 760 mm of Hg. Okay, so that is 30 mm vacuum is there, right? Okay, so state 1, the diameter is given, and diameter, so our radius is 0.75 meters, and T1 is given 315 Kelvin. And state 2, T2 is 730 mm of Hg, and because it is isothermal process, T2 also is same. And then it is cooled and to 275 Kelvin. So T3 is equal to 275 Kelvin. So we have taken the mass 4/3 pi r cube, we will get the mass. So M is equal to, we know that P1V by RT1, vessel, because vessel volume is constant. And the M2 is P2V by RT2. Volume is constant and mass also is, mass is changed, okay. So M1 minus M2 is equal to P1 minus P2 V by RT1, because T is constant, V is constant, the change in mass flow is equal to P1 minus P2 V by RT1. And what is P2? Is absolute pressure is equal to P atmosphere minus vacuum pressure. Okay. So 760 minus 30, that is 730 mm Hg. Right? Because it is 30 less than atmospheric pressure, it is 730 mm of Hg. So if you want it in kilopascals, multiply by rho into G. And you have to know this. If it is not given, 13.6 is the specific gravity of the mercury. So into water density, so 13.6 into 1000, this is the density of the mercury. Okay, so into 9.81 into the height is 730 mm by 1000, it is in meters. So I get in kilopascals. So M1 minus M2, you can substitute P1 minus P2 here, and V is already known, and T1 is given. So I can find out what is the mass that is taken out of the vessel. And what is asked then? Calculate the pressure in the tank if remaining air is cooled to 275 Kelvin. Okay, it is constant volume process because it is a closed vessel. So P1 by T1 equal to P2 by T2. Like that, P2 by T2 is equal to P3 by T3. You have to find out P3. T3 is given 275 Kelvin. So I can find out. So this is the way I have to solve the unsteady flow problems. Okay, this is the way we have to go about. And okay, these problems may be given in terms of steam or something, then you have to use steam tables. But the formulae are used in the same fashion. Only thing is, when you have pure substance as the working fluid, you will not have PV equal to RT. Okay, so that is the main thing you have to remember. Anything else? And whatever I wanted to show, that is the problems and all, I have shown it. And if there are any questions, we can discuss about it. So throttling, okay, throttling model means, okay, this problem becomes more simple because the H is constant, enthalpy is constant. So perfect gas equations, everything will work there, no problem. Okay, so there initial enthalpy is equal to final enthalpy. I don't know exactly what you want, Mahendra. Few sums on it. Okay, I am not ready with it. So that's why I told whatever you wanted, if you tell me early, I can cover those things. Maybe if we meet on Wednesday, we can discuss about it. Anything so you want me to cover on Wednesday, you can just communicate to me, right? Okay, this type of problems or this type of things, some things like that, I can just do that. Steam table related problems. Okay, so we'll do. No, compressors are not there in the syllabus. For mid-syllabus, compressors is not there. But okay, if it is just a process of compression, we have seen already, we have done some problems. Wherever volume reduced, there will be compression, but it is not reciprocating air compressor, what we have discussed a chapter. So that is not there in the syllabus for mid-exam. Is it okay? Unsteady flow problem we have discussed now, isn't it? And I think one more problem also I have. One more problem solution. Okay, this is another problem. It is not air, but the working fluid is a different fluid where the properties are different. So an oxygen cylinder has a capacity of 300 liters, contains oxygen at 3.1 megapascal and 18 degrees centigrade. The stop valve is opened and some gas is used. Okay, similar to previous one, some gas is removed from it, and P and T falls to 1.7 megapascal and 15 degrees centigrade. So initial pressure and temperature and final pressure and temperature are given, and determine the mass of oxygen used, how much mass is taken out. Okay, if the stop valve is closed, okay, the next step. If the stop valve is closed, the remaining oxygen in the cylinder gradually attains the initial temperature. Maybe it is the atmospheric temperature, it gets cooled. Okay, so it becomes 18 degrees centigrade, original temperature. Determine the amount of heat transfer to the atmosphere. And it is given that rho of oxygen, density of oxygen, is 1.429 kgs per meter cube at STP conditions, that is 0 degree Kelvin, 0 degree centigrade, and 1 atmosphere. So this is given, gamma equal to 1.4. Okay, so the given volume is 0.3 meter cube, which is constant, and P1, T1 is given, and P2, T2 are given. And for T3, temperature is given. Okay, and density rho, this is at P0, T0 is given. So why this is given is to find out the characteristic gas constant. So R of oxygen is equal to P naught by rho T naught. Okay, P is equal to rho RT. PV equal to RT means P is equal to rho RT because small v is 1 by rho. Okay, R naught is equal to P naught 2 by rho T naught. T naught is atmospheric condition, that is 1 atmosphere, 101.325 kilopascals, and T naught is 273 Kelvin, and rho is given. So I can find out what is R. And if R is known, R by gamma minus 1, gamma R by gamma minus 1, you can find out CV and CP. Okay. So why this CV is needed is for find out the heat transfer later. Because it is a constant volume process, I want MCV dt. So for that it is calculated. Otherwise, I don't need it. Okay. But to find out the initial mass flow and final mass flow, I need M is equal to PV by RT. Here R is to be known. So this R is calculated from that here. Okay, so M1 equal to P1 P1 V1 by RT1, M2 is equal to P2 V2 by RT2. V1 is V2, same, because it is a closed vessel. Okay, so we can find out M1 and M2. The difference gives the mass of oxygen that is removed or used. Okay, Q23, that is MCV dt. So this temperature has gone down from 18 degrees centigrade to 15 degrees, sorry, it is increased from 15 degrees centigrade to 18 degrees centigrade. So CV is calculated here. So MCV dt I can find out. Okay, this is the way. This is also an unsteady flow process. As I told, whenever I send some fluid into a vessel or take out some fluid into a vessel, then it becomes an unsteady flow. Usually, mass balance you have to make. Is it okay? No, nothing. Solid never comes into picture. Usually. Okay, unless if ice is there, from ice to water, there is some heat transfer or something, it may be there. Just to find out the amount of heat transferred, you can use MCDT like that. Not combination of solid and liquid, we will not have. Like liquid and vapor we are considering, like that we will not have solid and liquid because we are dealing with only fluids, okay, not solids. I think multiple choice questions will be there from theory, and sums will be there. Sums may be of different length. Actually, that's what I told. They have conducted. He has conducted first a minor exam for them. There will be some 2 mark sums and 4 mark sums like that. So in that way, there may be sums of different marks. Anything else? So shall we have a story? Okay, sums will be majority weightage. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, we will try to make it as student friendly as possible. Okay, we will not try to trouble you, right? So I am discussing about that. Uh, we will try to provide to go to previous question also. Okay, we try. I don't know how much serious they are from the authorities to follow those rules. Okay, so I'm quite against that. Anyhow. Okay, then we'll have the final story and we'll stop. So it's a beautiful story of very inspiring story, a real story of one girl, a black girl, Wilma Rudolph. Okay. And Wilma Rudolph faced an uphill battle right from her very first moment on this earth. She was born on June 23, 1940 in Bethlehem, Tennessee. She was born premature or early, and so she was a very weak baby. She was born into a large family. She is 20th of 22 children. And due to the racial inequality of the time, the newly born Rudolph and her mother didn't have access to basic hospital care because she is so weak baby and premature. They didn't get proper care also. So because of that, what happened? She was very poor. She was having very poor health and very less immunity. And in just her first few years of life, Rudolph had to fight through measles, mumps, chickenpox, and double pneumonia with only her mother's aid, nothing else. And the Rudolphs were finally forced to relent to doctor's care, and they found weakness and deformity in her left leg. So her left leg got deformed. So she got like polio-like thing, and her left leg got deformed. And she says, my doctors told me I would never walk again in my life. My mother told me I would, and I believed my mother. So, because of the inspiration that is given by her mother, and she always used to have some hope that I may be able to walk, I can walk like that. And this young struggling child was given the dire diagnosis of polio and told she would never walk. And Wilma's mother refused to accept that fate for her younger daughter and found a place where she could receive treatment at the Black Medical College at Fisk University at Nashville, Tennessee. It was 50 miles away from their home in Clarksville. And Wilma and her mother made this trip twice a week for 2 years until the day she gained the ability to walk with a metal brace. Okay, after 2 years. From there, Mrs. Rudolph and the rest of the family aided in Wilma's physical therapy, helping to will the young girl back to health. And at the age of 12, Wilma could finally walk. Okay, till 12 years, she is not able to walk properly without brace. And at 12 years, without the assistance of crutches, braces, and corrective shoes, she is able to walk. She decided to get involved in athletics, joining her junior high basketball team. And battling through all that hardship just to play junior high basketball would have been enough, but not for Wilma Rudolph. Tennessee State track coach Ed Temple saw her spirits in the state basketball tournament, and this would change the course of her life forever. Since her high school didn't have the funds to field track team, he invited her to participate in a summer track camp at the college. This led Rudolph to compete for United States track and field team in the 1956 Olympics, just 4 years after removing her leg brace. At just 16 years of age, Rudolph took home a bronze medal as part of the 4 by 100 meter relay. She kept running and got better and better. She enrolled at Tennessee State and continued to win track meets. At the 1960 Olympics in Rome, she became the first American woman, white or black, to win 3 gold medals in one Olympics. She won the 100 meters, 200 meters, and 4 by 100 meter relay. Many people called her the world's fastest woman. She was named the Associated Press Female Athlete of the Year. Suddenly, Wilma Rudolph, who was once a little girl who couldn't walk without the help of leg braces, was an international track star. She toured other countries, winning big cheers in England, Germany, Greece, and Netherlands. When she spoke, people listened. And following her stunning performance in Rome, Rudolph made even more significant history on a social level. She insisted that her homecoming parade and subsequent banquet be open to all residents. The parade was the first racially integrated event in Clarksville, and the banquet marked the first time that blacks and whites had gathered for the same event in the town's history. So that is this great lady. And Wilma Rudolph made a huge impact on society for African Americans, for women, and for the people who have hurdles to clear. It has been 52 years since her last Olympic gold medal, but despite the time that's elapsed, her story of courage, will, love, and family will live on forever. Okay, that's the great story of Wilma Rudolph. Thank you. So if you have any difficulties, doubts, or anything, so we will meet on Wednesday. So Wednesday is only for you. Okay. And so you are left to yourself to practice the problems that are there. You go through all the workouts with the examples of PKNR, lot of good problems are there. And anyhow, Senjal, Borgnake are there. And Borgnake is the favorite book of the Jai Krishna sir. So you go through all the problems that are given in the first in the exercises, then in the workload examples, and then in the exercises. So workload example also read the problem and you tackle it without seeing the solution and see whether you can handle it properly. Then you see the solution and check whether your way of thinking is right or not. Okay. So do good practice. Lot of practice is needed. Be careful about the units that you use, you substitute and all. Okay. Anything? Okay, if nothing, see you then. All the best. So I want you people to do well compared to other section. I always feel a competition with the other section, right? I want my students, my section students to do well and get better average compared to the other section, right? So then only I feel I am successful. Okay, see you. Bye.
Sir, sir.
Yes, yes.
One doubt, sir.
Chip.
We discussed one problem, sir, unstudy flow.
Yeah.
Once, can you open the problem, sir?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, first problem or second problem? Okay, it's spherical vessel one problem, oxygen cylinder another problem.
Oxygen one, sir. So,
Okay.
in the oxygen one,
Yeah.
the question it is asked, determine the amount of heat transferred to the atmosphere.
Yeah. Whatever is lost, it is to the atmosphere only.
It usually loses the heat, sir.
Yeah, it is because initial inside temperature is 15 degrees centigrade, outside temperature is 18 degrees centigrade.
So it should gain heat from the atmosphere.
Yeah. It actually initially it is 18 with the atmosphere. When the valve is opened, its temperature is dropped. Okay, this heat transfer is reversed. Actually, this is I think maybe I substituted wrong. Q23, T3 minus T2, 291 minus 288. It is gaining Oh, no. Okay, it is gaining heat. Yeah, it's okay. It's no problem. It is 15 degrees centigrade, its temperature. Outside temperature is 18. So it has gained its temperature back by taking heat from the atmosphere. Outside atmosphere, it is 18 degrees centigrade. And when it is valve is opened, when the oxygen is gone something, then its temperature is dropped to 15 degrees centigrade. Because it is left in the atmosphere, it tries to come to equilibrium with the atmosphere. So its temperature has risen to 18 degrees centigrade by taking some heat from the outside. Is it okay? So heat is given to the cylinder from the atmosphere. Is it okay?
Sir, can you go to the previous problem? This problem is okay, sir.
Yeah.
ఇక్కడ సార్ 730 mm ఆఫ్ హెచ్డి అన్నారు కదా సార్.
Yeah.
ఇక్కడ
This is
లాస్ట్
absolute pressure. Okay.
730 mm is absolute pressure.
Yeah.
Sir, how is it different from vacuum pressure, sir? Absolute and vacuum.
This is gauge pressure, right? When I put the gauge, it shows how much it is different from the atmosphere.
Right, sir. And in the question, it is given as it is at 730 mm of mercury, no, sir.
Yeah, 730.
Is it gauge pressure?
This is absolute pressure.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So when I put the vacuum gauge, it shows 30. It will show 30.
Okay, sir. And when we are substituting in P2, we have to substitute 730, no, sir. In the last second step, you substituted.
Oh, yeah. Here. Okay.
Yes, sir.
It should be 730.
Okay, sir. That's all, sir.
It should be 730. Right.
Okay. So we have to always substitute absolute pressure.
Yeah, absolute
Okay,
pressure.
sir. Right, sir.
Yeah.
Clear, sir. That's it. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Right. Bye.